But she woke up every morning to the same silence that screamed louder than words. The walls of her small home held secrets of arguments, of shattered dreams, of a woman who once believed love could save her. Her husband's voice had become her fear, his anger, her prison. She stayed not because she wanted to, but because she had nowhere else to go. Every insult cut deeper than the last, and yet she smiled for her child, pretending everything was fine. Behind that forced smile lived a broken heart that refused to stop beating. She whispered to herself at night that one day, somehow, she'd find the courage to leave. But survival demanded silence, and silence became her only armor. In a world where her voice was never heard, she learned that even quiet strength could be the beginning of freedom. When she finally gathered the courage to walk away, she thought she was escaping pain. But fate led her into the path of another kind of darkness. Simon, her boss, was everything her husband wasn't: confident, powerful, and dangerously calm. His gaze pierced through her fear, as if he could see the bruises she hid behind her strength. At first, she saw a chance for rescue, but soon realized that every favor came with invisible chains. His words wrapped around her like silk, gentle, yet suffocating. She couldn't tell if he wanted to save her or possess her. Somewhere between his cruelty and care, her heart began to tremble for reasons she didn't understand. She had escaped one monster only to face another, but this one awakened something deeper, something that blurred the line between fear and desire. And that was where her real battle began. Days turned into nights under his watchful eyes, and every moment felt like walking on the edge of danger. Simon's presence was unsettling, his words sharp, his silence louder than thunder. Yet, in the middle of that storm, she found herself drawn to him. There was something broken behind his strength, something fragile behind his cruelty. The more she tried to hate him, the more she saw the loneliness in his eyes. Their connection wasn't gentle. It was a collision pain, meeting pain, darkness recognizing its reflection. He taught her fear, but also reminded her what it meant to feel alive. When he looked at her, she no longer felt invisible. For the first time, she wasn't just surviving, she was seen. But in that dangerous affection, she began to wonder, was it love, or was it just another kind of captivity? The truth shattered her illusions like glass. Seeing her husband with another woman was the final wound she needed to stop bleeding for people who never cared. That night, something inside her changed. She stopped begging for love and started demanding respect from the world and from herself. The timid woman who once hid behind fear stepped into her own power, her pain transforming into fuel. She stood taller, spoke louder, and no longer apologized for existing. Even Simon, the man who once controlled her every move, saw the fire in her eyes and knew she was no longer the same. She wasn't just surviving anymore. She was reclaiming her life, piece by piece. In her reflection, she no longer saw a victim. She saw a woman reborn from her own ashes, ready to live on her own terms. She finally chose herself. Just when she thought her story had ended, life turned one final page. Simon was gone, disappeared without a word, but he left behind the unimaginable. The entire company, his empire, was now hers. At first, she didn't believe it. The same woman who once begged for kindness now signed documents worth millions. The office that once made her feel small now echoed with her name. Yet the victory felt hollow, heavy with memories of the man who had both haunted and healed her. In every corner of that empire, she could still feel his presence, his voice, his power, his pain. He had left her wealth, but taken away the only thing she truly wanted, him. And in that moment, she understood that real power doesn't come from what you own, but from what you've survived. Her freedom was finally hers, but it came at the price of love. She thought she had closed that chapter forever. But love has a way of finding its way back, even through the cracks of loss. When Simon returned, it wasn't as the monster she once feared, it was as the man she had unknowingly tamed. Their worlds had always been different. His wrapped in darkness, hers struggling toward light, yet somewhere in between, they had found each other. No promises, no illusions, just the quiet truth that love can exist even after pain. He had saved her once, but this time, she saved him from his loneliness, his curse, his own walls. Together, they discovered that love isn't about control or perfection. It's about choosing each other, even when it hurts. And as they stood in the silence that once divided them, she finally understood. True love doesn't erase the darkness, it teaches you how to shine through it.